thinking, I wonder if people are tired and they've left. But everybody's still there. I know everybody. I know those seats were empty, but these are all here. Great, that's the mistake I made all the time. I wondered about other people. And, the point of this seminar is you do it, somebody follows. After that talk, I got tears in my eyes. What can I say after that? I'll try my best. Thank you, Rajan. It was so real. When a strong man like that, in the corporate world, if he was the boss, he had to be strong and not show anybody that he has emotions. And, he's a real father. He's a strong father, And we definitely promote in our homes that the father is a hero because, he not only brings home the money, but he gives us time, he gives the children time, and that's what I look at, Rajan, and I'm really, excited. Thank you. So some more dream pictures, nice pictures. Okay. Now, we were just married then. We look the same now, right? If not younger. It is artistry. Thank you, Rajan. He says, yeah. I was kind of working in a good position at this time when I just got married. And, you think that you know a lot because you think you're running the department and, a lot of things move when you say do, don't do. But one thing I had completely missed in my entire life. My school didn't teach me that. My college didn't teach me that. Something called goal setting. And when Staffan said to me, we were in Paris. It was a Diamond Invitational. And we were there. And he said, we were sitting in this nice cafe overlooking the Eiffel Tower. For me, it was a romantic moment. I didn't want anything, business, money, goals, nothing distracting it. I didn't know what he talked about. He said, let's take few hours of our time, and set goals for our life. And I'm like, now? Can we do this when we go back home? Can we just enjoy? And he's like, no, we're here for a long holiday. Let's set a few hours and set goals. And reluctantly, I agreed because, he was quite strong on that point, I was amazed to see, he was setting goals for the next 5 years and the next, and I'm like, we cannot control the future, can we? I was so used to somebody else controlling my time, my life, who I spend time with, whether I took a holiday, whether not. So this idea, this foreign concept of let's decide for our life was actually quite interesting to me, even though I couldn't comprehend it. Anyhow, long story short, we set goals. We decided we were married, so we were going to spend time with each other. That's why we get married, right? Normally people spend 15 days. The wife goes to work and the husband goes to work, and then, the baby comes along. But we decided, let's break the norm. Since he tried to explain a little bit about the business, and I understood something that we have more time than normal people. And I'd quit my job. So definitely I had time. So he said, let's plan our lives. Let's spend a few years getting to know each other, doing fun things. We traveled 22 countries. It was fun. We really spent 2 years just traveling around. After that, we decided to have kids, and we decided, have kids and have time for them, So another, we lived in Bangkok, and the next 5 years, or 5.5 years, we actually spent all our time with our kids. And looking back, that day, 10 years ago, we set these goals, and exactly that happened to us, If you think life is a chance, either you're not thinking, like me, que sera, whatever will be. Or if you think that, wow, life is really happening to Rajan, it's deliberate, as he says, this business teaches us, this business, I know Anand and Vasanta set goals. I know these, top leaders here, they set goals for their lives. And those goals take us to them and we achieve them. And that's what happened here. It was the most interesting thing of my life, and most exciting. I learned to set goals. If you're sitting here and you don't get anything out of this seminar, I'll forgive you completely. Just go back home and set goals at least for the next 1 year or 3 years of your life and decide what you want, because otherwise somebody else will decide. Next. Oh, I have the control. Sorry. Oh, This was, we went to Italy. It's great speaking network 21. We don't take it for granted, I used to come up on stage. Rajan thinks that I was shy, and I said, my name is Pramilla, and I left. I was shivering and shaking from the inside. I'd never spoken to more than 2 people, my assistant and my boss. At one time, I probably didn't speak to both of them. And this stage has given me confidence. It has given me the ability, Where do you get smart people like engineers listening to you otherwise? I'm a housewife, Your children don't listen to you. So it's like a great environment where I think, you must listen to me. You did how many years of engineering? It's fun. This environment really gives you confidence, gives you motivation, just because you did something so simple, And we went to speak for Massimo Bini. This was not our wedding celebration as you look at it, They gave us flowers when we arrived. It was one of the most amazing experiences because, there was a auditorium of 5,000 people, and it was electrifying, It was great. This was, we were in Nice with the kids. We were in Nice with the kids, and they said I wanted to eat creme brulee. They don't know what's creme brulee. And if you've eaten creme brulee in Bangalore or anywhere else, it's not the same. You have to go to Nice and sit in a street cafe like this and eat creme brulee. It was probably our 3rd one, We were just digging into it. That's Lisa and Hannah. They're having fun. That's when you can spend so much time with the family that it's just so much fun. This is one of the free cruises we got, a Greek island cruise, and it was, exciting for us. It was beautiful. If you've not seen the Greek islands, the Mediterranean, go by cruise. That's the best way to see it. Go on a cruise, Yes, 1 pizza each. Yes. I did. When you have 2 young kids, you hardly get a slice when you order home, even if you order 3. Yeah. And here we said, no kids, 1 pizza each. I'm not sharing mine. You don't share yours. And it was on one of those beautiful cafes in Bologna, and it was just an experience of a lifetime. We had such a great time. This was, it was very kind of precious to me that I can stand so close to somebody like Nancy Donen and take a picture, So that really motivated me to do something significant in this business so I can, take another picture with her. But, that's Nancy Donen, and down-to-earth person who really teaches you how to care about people. And that's what I got from her, This was one of my dreams was to go to Venice, and it never happened. I always wanted to go with the person I loved, and my mother wanted to go to Venice, and I said, that's not the definition. I meant a husband or something. So I went with Staffan. We went to Nice. It was a free trip with Amway, and we had such a fun time. It's one of the most charming, romantic places in the world. And if you've not been to Venice, you probably, if you want to travel, write it down in your dream book. When I traveled, when I was working for an airline, we got the so-called free tickets. It wasn't free. There was a lot of strings attached to it, subject to many, many things. It was like, when you went there, you worried whether you got on. And you enjoyed 1 or 2 days. And by the 3rd day, there were knots in your stomach because you worried whether you'll get back. Rajan relates to that. But here with Amway, you don't have to worry about anything. They take care of everything. Flights get cancelled. It's not your problem. Amway takes care of everything. It's such a great way to travel. I'm not into cars and new cars, and I never had it in my dream book. I just want to be driven around. I don't care how, But I didn't, and it wasn't even an occasion. It wasn't a birthday or a special occasion. And one day, Staffan just buys me a new BMW. And I'm like, wow, that's great. It's probably in his dream book. And then I realized, sitting in the streets of Mumbai in traffic, may as well sit in a nice BMW than a Honda, So I see the value of it now. Now I'm like, oh, wow, I love this car, So this is my car. I have a driver too because, I don't like driving in Mumbai. But it's a great kind of, you don't wait for occasions. I see many people, they wait for that big bonus, so they do something with their money, and it's good. It's good to have those goals. But when you just have more than enough because of this business, you can just, I never dreamt in my life I would own a BMW. I never dreamt it. It was probably not important to me because I thought it would never happen. God knows how the mind works. But since I have it now, I think, oh, wow, that's not too bad. I'm sure many people in the audience, who wants a BMW? Great, I like that. I like it too. This is our home. We live in a very, very big home. It overlooks the Arabian Sea. It's, Anand and Vasanta visited us the last time they spoke in Mumbai. It's very nice. It's comfortable. It's, we have good help, and all the income that we earn, all this lifestyle we can do because of the money that comes from the Amway business. We have no other source of income for the past 10 years. I have quit my job, no other source of income. In fact, I hope I don't eat up too much time, no, right? When I worked for 17 years, we always talked about this package you got at retirement. It was always like, but I always imagined that I'd get the package at 60. So then it was like probably dentures and, can't do much at 60. Gutno mein problem hota hai. Things like that. So you probably keep it for medical bills. That's what you normally do, right? I see old people these days, all their savings, correct me if I'm wrong, goes in medical bills because all their life they work very hard, for somebody else's dream. Ignore their health completely. Try to make time for their family. God knows they try. And the health takes a back seat and they retire. They get this money from the company and everything goes in medical bills, And it's a very sad story. I hear it so much. When I meet another old person who is retired, I'm like, don't tell me the same story, And subconsciously, that's what I had planned for. I don't know if it was medical bills, but I thought, wow, at 60, I'll get this lump sum, We used to call it the lump sum, and very exciting. It was like a secret, top secret. How much will we get? And we tried to make our calculations. It's true, Anand is laughing, And then when I retired, I took early retirement, because I wasn't that old, So I took retirement and, I got Indian standards, you go, wow, I got about 80 lakhs. And I was like, wow. And guess what? Last year in GIP bonus, in 1 year, we made 80 lakhs. 17 years of my life gone, my youth. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I could have made 80 lakhs for 17 years. That's possible in this business, The GIP bonus was that much for 1 year. It's going to be more this year, for sure, We know that. So, the sky is the limit, You work in a good job and you think you got a good package, and Amway beats you to that too, Money? I'll show you the money, and Amway really shows you the money. So this is our home. We have, I'm really out of my comfort zone these days because I stay less at home and more outside. It's a very comfortable home. I love being in it, and enjoying it. But for a short period of time. There or where? Somebody help me. This is... Okay, now this is Staffan's office. Any papas bring their little girls to office? Okay, so he works, he has an office at home, and you see Lisa is working very interestingly in the computer, probably trying to look for some cartoons or something, and, it's just such a relaxing environment. His office is full of the kids' books, and, people walk into that office and they say, oh, wow, this is a great office, plants and just no-stress office. Who likes a no-stress office? Wow, have an office in your home. And that's what Amway does. We don't need to go to office. We bring the office to our home, And I doubt much work happens in that office, He sometimes locks it from the inside. He wants time out, But, he gets time out. He works, and it's a great place we live in. It's very quiet. It's up on the 17th, 18th floor, and we hear no noise at all. It's fantastic. So it's a lot of peace around. And I guess this is the last picture. This is the terrace, and this overlooks the sea. This is our own private terrace. Sometimes we have about 50, 60 people there for, cocktail parties or dinner, or some business things. And, it's just fantastic to be able to, sometimes I just sit there at 6:30 in the evening alone, watch the sundown, and it's just so calming. It's just like no pressure, no stress, This is the life. That's it, I think. No. And this is the terrace, and we on the terrace. Thank you. So now new people will say, okay, now you showed us this big dream. You told us you have so much money. Amway has so much money to give. You showed us the lifestyle. What to do? What to do next, right? I know you leaders know what to do, so you can fall off to sleep. Not Rajan, but But the new people, what to do next, yeah? Why do people not start this business? We have this problem sometimes. Before starting only, there's an aborted takeoff, right? And you think, what happened? You were excited yesterday, yeah? So what may stop new people? I have 4 ideas, I think so. The past few months, I'm working with a lot of new people, and I think these are the 4 things, yeah? Most times, they don't buy the products and don't use them. Yeah. So what are you going to talk to friends about? Oh, the lady on stage said she got 80 lakhs. Who will believe you? Who that lady? She must have been lying. The only belief you get is from the products. You heard the panel speakers. They believed in the products. They believed in somebody else's testimony of the products. So use the products. If nothing else, it will give you good looks, like and good health, which all of us want it. Everybody wants it. So if you're new here and you think, अब क्या करना पड़ेगा? अभी राजन क्या बोलेगा करने को? बड़ा कुछ करना पड़ेगा. नहीं, just buy some products that you need, and start using them. I know a new person, he joined about 3 weeks ago, and he got some products, and he was not that keen on buying the body key, and I saw in his downline he had a few overweight people, and he's like, nobody's buying the body key. And I'm like, look, you have a little bit of a tummy. You're not fat, but you have a little bit of a tummy. Do you want to get rid of that? He said, yes. I said, buy the body key. It duplicates. Use it with passion, you speak. Yeah, he bought the body key. He started using it. Within 24 hours, he closed a body key. Yeah. So only if you use it, you can get belief and promote it. Otherwise, how are you going to tell somebody that Salmon Omega works? Right? How are you going to tell them? You have to use it before. He got so excited, he understood the principle. He bought the queen. I'm like, are you sure you cook? He's like, I don't care, others will buy. He bought the queen. Fair enough, in 3 days, he closed 4 queens sets. The queen cookware, if somebody's wondering who buys a queen. It's a new cookware that Amway has launched. It's fantastic. It's, you talk to the person who bought you here. The food is delicious. We have delicious eating food for the past few months. So, number 2 is, maybe as a new person, I'm overly concerned about what people think. What will people think about this business? He says it's not a good business. She says people don't really care what you do with your lives. People only care as much as you care. Sometimes it's all in the mind, right? Like I told you that friend story, right? Who told me, don't quit your job, the Amway business. I will complete the story here. I met her when I went to Hong Kong, and she was all excited, and she was like, I'm like, you look good, what's going on? And she's like, I started using some products, and I'm like, what products? She was trying to sell me the Amway business. Guess what? The audacity, you tell me not to marry the man because he does the Amway business, and then you join the Amway business. You're excited, so people forget. I said, what cheek? I almost missed my husband because you tried to influence me. Did I? I don't remember. People don't remember what they say. Yeah. And you're like, you miss an opportunity because your brother-in-law said it's not good. Research it. Like Rajan said, research it. Give yourself an opportunity to at least do it for yourself. Research it for yourself. Do it if you think it's worth it. But if you listen to other people, you probably will not do much in life, Some people believe being a doctor is good, being an engineer, who are you going to listen to, don't be overly concerned. I personally don't care anymore at this level what people think about the Amway business. I don't justify. I just go, really? Wow, tough. Poor you. You had a bad experience? Okay, I must leave, And I run away from negative people. You know what? Someone said to me the other day, I get negative people, I'm meeting so many negative people. I said, run. What are you doing sitting with them? When I sit with somebody, and, we all can sense negative remarks or negative posture or at any level, whether you're in this business, you're new here, and I meet somebody and the first negative vibe I get, maybe it's coward, whatever you call it, but my dream is so precious. I will not allow anybody, any negative comment to come in the way. So the other day I was sitting with a doctor and he just started to say something negative. I immediately got up. He thought I was mad or something. I said, okay, doctor, I must leave now. Thank you very much for your time. And he was like, what happened? Negative. I must run away. I must run away from negative people because I don't want your opinion. I know this business works for Rajan. I know this business works for Anand and Vasanta, for, Ram Babu and all these people. I know it works. I know it works for Mitsala. I've seen it with my own eyes. I know it works for Nancy Dawn in the mansion she lives in. I couldn't even complete that round I didn't even see the whole house. I was dizzy. He was like, are you okay? Rajan asked me. I'm like, I'm dizzy. This home is so big, And it's the Amway business. I know what I know, So know what you know your dream, and run away from negative people. Most new people, they look at professions like, oh, he's an engineer. Wow, he worked with Unilever. He's a doctor. And you esteem many professions. And you look at the Amway business as a housewife business. Yeah, but when I say to even men, you can make 80, 90,000 from this business. I want that. So they want the money. They don't respect the business. Whatever, who cares? And they don't want to put the work. So, how many hours do you sit in your clinic? How many hours, Dr. Sir? 14 to 15 hours, right? Right? To earn money. More? You have more? 8 to 9 hours. 8 to 9 hours, And so if you spend 8 to 9 hours, most people spend 8 to 9 hours in office, you get a package of, many people, 80, 90, 1 lakh is pretty good, right? These days, New Silvers are making that money. New Silvers are making with the PC rule coming in. It's fantastic with all this, side volume and all that. It's great. And we think, wow, what calculation is going on in that intelligent mind? Easy money? Oh, I like this. Show me the money first. You just joined yesterday. You just bought 3 glisters. 1 glister, 1 soap. What money you want to see? Do you go to D-Mart and say, show me the money? You just shopped for your personal belongings, whatever, needs. And you want to see the money too soon, I was guilty of that too. Fortunately, I saw some money, so I became a believer. But you just have to do that by faith, because you do that anyways at work, right? You don't take the patient's money first before. Nowadays, they do that in hospitals. They do. I love doctors. I respect doctors, Thank you so much for all the doctors. But I'm just saying, whatever profession, I love doctors, so I pick on them. But, you go to office I went to office first to the 26th, and then they paid me on the 26th, and then I believed when I saw it. Okay, this company pays, How can I say on the 1st, show me how much you'll pay me? Put it in my account first, then I'll work for 26 days. And sometimes we start to think like that. Am I right? Or maybe I'm meeting people like that. The leaders are like, doesn't happen in Bangalore. Correct? Doesn't happen in Bangalore? It happens everywhere. It happens everywhere. You want to see results without putting in the work. I said, कुछ तो काम करो बाबा. एक ग्लिस्टर लिया, एक साबुन लिया और मैं पैसे नहीं कमाए. आपने बोला पैसे कमाओ, उतना ही सुना आपने. सीडी सुनो, मीटिंग में आओ, 10 जनों को जुड़वाओ, वो नहीं सुना. पैसा कमाएंगे वो ही सुना. So, you have to be reasonable with the results after you put in the effort. Yeah, I'm slurring already, so I think it's time. My last point, actually, judging the results too early. You work 1 month and you say, only 4,000? My job pays me 90,000 or 1 lakh or 2 lakhs, and you say, why should I put time in this business? I worked the whole month. And by the way, you're not working 8 hours a day, right, in this business. The other day I sat with, she's a housewife actually, and she's great and she wants to do this business. And the first month, last month, she earned 5,000. So she said, आपने बोला 5 से 8,000 कमाएगा. हिंदी ठीक है ना इधर बैंगलोर में? हाँ? कभी कभी हिंदी होते हैं ना. हाँ. तो आपने बोला 5 से 8,000 कमाएगा. I said, अच्छा बैठो. कितने जनों को आपने ये दिखाया? एक जने को. हाँ? आपने कितना खरीदा? 50 पीवी, साबुन, ग्लिस्टर, शैम्पू, जो खरीदना ही है वो खरीदा. हाँ? न्यूट्रलाइट, nothing extra. Fair enough, whatever she wants. Huh? Then the balance, she went 9%, but the balance 350 PV I did. Huh? So she did 100 PV, I did, who she talked to somebody and said, usse milo. So I had to go to the person. So I said, how many hours did you put? Let's be realistic here. I sat down with a piece of paper. And she had put 3 hours in the month. And you earn 5,000. Isn't that a great deal? So how much per hour? 1,000? Yeah. Top doctors get top doctors, you see. So be reasonable and don't judge the results too soon, And if I remember a great story where Staffan, introduced this couple 14 years ago into our business. And, for 14 years, they came to every meeting and they used the products. And it's almost like after 10, 12 years, when I came in contact with them, I tried to convince them that, why don't you do something else? Obviously, this is not working for you. 14 long years, come on. It's, in my opinion, very slow for results. But, last year, in May, this May, they got an opportunity with his work and they moved to Mumbai. They made a decision to move. Yeah, they qualified LC in May. They qualified ELC in July. They qualified silver in November. They qualified gold in January. November, December, January. Yes, and so. Imagine if we gave up on them. Imagine if he gave up on them, right? So they are new gold producers and they're going platinum this year after 14 years. Please don't take 14 years. They came to meetings, they became better people, but they didn't earn any money. And now they say, we should have done it 14 years ago. It doesn't take so long. When you make a decision, they made a decision in May, and they qualified May, June, July, August, September, October, November, they qualified. Within 6 months, they were new silvers. They were barely 9% not LC when they came to Mumbai, about 350 PV, and they qualified within 6 months after making the decision. So if you're sitting in this room and you're 10 years and you're saying, 4 more years, and then it will happen. That's... when they made the decision. Yeah, I see some people relieved, like, oh, I read minds too. So, we'll hand it over to Staffan now. I'm done. It was a great experience being here, and Staffan will actually close the seminar. So thank you very much.
Good. So I'm just going to finish off the seminar with some quick points. And if I can get my slides, please. So now, especially for those of you who are here for the first time, hopefully you have seen enough that the business works. By the way, thank you so much, Rajan. Let's give Rajan a big hand. It was very touching to hear that talk for me personally. Obviously, none of us would want to be in that situation. But I got so much inspiration from the way he conducts himself in this situation and the way he thinks, that it just gives me the belief and the vision that I already had, that this is the environment that I want my children to grow up in. This is the environment that I want to stay in, because this is the environment that I want to bring other people into. Because it's just priceless to hear that type of testimony from someone that we respect so much. And we are all praying for Anjali's absolute recovery. And so grateful to see these pictures today. It was very, very encouraging. Thank you. So I want to give you a few tips on what to do next. I'm going to give you some points that if you apply them, this is going to work 100%. This is not maybe, not perhaps, not sometimes, not for some people. It's always. This is a concept that I base my entire life on. This is a concept that is absolutely life-changing, that you understand it. The mistake most people make in life is that they want to do something big, fast. That is not necessarily the best formula for success. People want to make money in the financial markets fast. Normally that never happens. The people want to invest in some business and make money quickly, and they disregard the importance of putting in small daily steps into something that ultimately will become bigger than what you could even think about. The first graph is a graph that goes upwards. And the second graph is a graph that eventually spirals downwards. In the beginning, both the graphs looks the same. It's just a little bit of difference in decisions on a daily basis. How does a person become overweight? How does a person become obese? Is it something that happens because of one big wedding dinner or one buffet out in a 5-star hotel, and you come home and you look pregnant the next day? No, it is a result of years of small, insignificant decisions. One samosa, one piece of chocolate, one extra chips, and over time that accumulates, and it is cumulative, and ultimately it leads somewhere. How do a person become healthy? It's just small decisions. Learn how to say yes to certain things. Learn how to say no to other things. How do we become successful in finances? Well, the person who starts early and saves a little bit every single month is going to be on that blue curve. And in the beginning, it's very, very mediocre results. But if that person keeps saving every single month, putting in some money into mutual funds or whatever it may be, after 20 or 30 years, the amounts will be astronomical if you just look at what happens with compounding. The person who doesn't save, he lives the same life. He comes home every night, switches on the TV, and his life looks the same. I remember building this business in Bombay many years back, and I used to come home late nights after showing this plan to people, sometimes tired, sometimes without getting results. And my neighbor's TV used to be on all the time. No matter what time I came home at night, the TV would be on. And news would be on, movies would be on. And sometimes I would think, it would be so nice to just sit down and watch TV just like them. But what they did not realize, looking at me, because our lives looked the same. We stayed in the same building. They had a better car than I had. In fact, their life looks better than me. So you could come to the conclusion that, he's sacrificing his evenings and he's not watching TV. He's not doing what's comfortable. But without even knowing it, they are on the curve that ultimately starts to compound downwards because of many, many small decisions made on a daily basis. People on the right curve are motivated by results and by things that will give results and by the right things. And people on the downward curves are motivated by comfort and by pleasing methods. That's the big difference. So now I'm going to speak about 5 habits that will absolutely work for you if you apply them in this business. Not to disappoint anyone, this is not something big. This is not something revolutionary. This is not something that takes a lot of intelligence to apply. In fact, it takes more of an attitude to apply this than anything else. But if you on a consistent basis do these 5 things that I'm going to speak about every day, not Sundays, every day, you make it a habit and you inculcate it in your life, this business will positively work for you and you will get many other benefits as well. Now, number 1, You need to use the products, like Pramilla spoke about. Now, Amway has many different products. Amway has got home care products, personal care products, nutrition, beauty products. Amway's biggest range of product is a nutrition range. So wouldn't it make sense to promote and get good at the range, which is 70% of Amway's volume, obviously. So learn about the nutrition products. Some people buy these products, the vitamins and other things, just because someone tells them that this is a good business and they buy the products. And then they don't use the products. What an absolute waste. The products is not something we buy to build the business. The products is, number one, something we buy because we need it in our personal life. Pramilla and I have such a conviction about using these products because we have seen the results in ourselves and others. We see the result in our children. Our children has never, ever, ever taken antibiotics in their life. They fall sick like other children, but they recover in half the time what we see other children recover in. We use the products. We build our immunity. And maybe we will delay lifestyle diseases for 20, 25 years of your life. How is that? That's a winning concept. Every single day, take a vitamin. How difficult is that? Easy to do, easy not to do. 20 years ago, I did some basic research on this. And I came to the conclusion, because the research was available, that it's very smart to take additional natural, fruit-based and plant-based vitamins in my body every day because I'm not getting enough fruits and vegetables. So I started to take vitamins every day. Not Sundays, every single day. Every day. Easy to do, easy not to do. Anyone can afford it, but people neglect it. What is the difference 20 years later between someone who is doing this and someone who is not? One is on the upward curve, the other one is on the downward curve. It makes a difference, it adds to your health. Using the skincare products. How long time does it take me every single day to use the Artistry skincare products on my face? Approximately less than 30 to 40 seconds. That's what I spend in the morning, that's what I spend in the evening. It's easy to do, it's easy not to do. Everything on the upward curve is very easy to do. Everyone can do it. Everything on the downward curve is very easy not to do. And people neglect it. I use skincare products every single day. What's the result? I look younger than my age. It feels good. But for every product I buy, I sell 1,000 in my network. How is that for a return? You buy one, you sell 1,000. That's what will happen to you too. But there was a time when I was not using the skincare products myself. And you know what happened? No one in my group was using the products. So not just take this business seriously. Look at it seriously. You have a big business. This is your business. Start using the products. Not some products, all the products. I see the difference. I see successful business people coming into this business. I see successful employees coming into this business. There's a big difference. I just sponsored a person who is a very successful businessman. He has built a very, very, very large traditional business. And he understood this concept very quickly. And I told him, well, step one is that you start to use the products. He said, good, give me the catalog. Boom, 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 boom. I said, hey, hold on. He said, no, I am going to believe that if I'm going to promote this to other people, I'm going to use the products myself, I'm going to study it, I'm going to use it, then I'm going to speak to other people with conviction. That's how a businessman thinks. An employee very often thinks, what is the minimum I can get away with? Can the company give me free samples? I had a vice president for a bank telling me, can't we get free samples from the company to use? So we get convinced. Why? Because that's how it works in his corporate world. The same person wanted a catalog. I used to give him catalogs, this employee. They cost 25 rupees to buy these catalogs from Amway. And, you know, he always used to ask me for catalogs. And I used to give it to him. At some point I said, you know, these catalogs, you can buy it from the website. It's 25 rupees each. He said, oh, you have to pay for the catalogs. The company should give you free. You know, and I told him, the company, you don't work for the company. You are the company here. You are the company. And unless you want to buy catalogs and give to everyone in your group, you just buy it for yourself and you ask other people to do the same thing. That's how this business works. Have the right attitude. You want this business to be big, use products immediately from all the product categories. And there are two options. Number one, you love the products, you get convinced about the products. Good, you can succeed in this business. Option B, you don't love the products, you're not convinced about the products. You cannot succeed in this business, at least you know. The good news is that you will be convinced once you start using it. But use the product is number one. Easy to do, easy not to do. Because you're already using most of these products anyhow. Just switch. It amazes me that people want to make 5 lakhs a month from this business, and they don't have enough basic self-discipline to switch from the toothpaste brand they are using to the brand from their own business. And they think they can get away with it. You cannot get away with it. You cannot have a big Amway business that will give you a huge financial freedom and income if you are not loyal to your own brand, because there will be a belief problem that comes out. Plus people in your group will not use it. So use the product, number one. Number 2, attend all meetings. Now, this is not something you have to do. It's something that we recommend you to do. Not attend some meetings, attend all meetings. I made that decision very, very early on. I started to come to all the meetings because that's what I was told to do. Most times I came alone in the beginning. There was no one I could get to come with me. I attended all the meetings. You know why I did that? Because I saw potential in this business. I remember when I was new in this business in Australia, my upline, Mitch Sala, was speaking at the seminar. And I was always looking at his lifestyle. I was looking at his, and once, he had just bought a pair of new shoes. And I said, these are nice shoes. What brand it is? And how much did you pay? I just asked him. He had paid $1,400 for a pair of shoes. That's more than 1 lakh of rupees for a pair of shoes. I said, wow, it looks good, great. And I realized I cannot go and buy a pair of shoes for that amount, but I would like to one day. Use the products, come to all meetings, and I got inspired to start building this business. Come to every single meeting, because that's where you will learn the business. Start to treat it seriously. You can learn it. You can get good at this. Do you know how small percentage of people who join this business actually even bother to understand it and learn it? Most people speak to just a few friends, and then based on that, we'll see how it works. That's not how a traditional business works. The attitude of, we'll see what happens. If it works, it works. That happy-go-lucky, sloppy attitude will not work in a traditional business. It will not work with your son's 10th standard exams that is happening right now. We'll see what happens. Imagine if your 10th standard school-going child tells you that he has the attitude like, we'll see what happens. If it works, if I clear, I clear. If I don't clear, I don't clear. As a mother, you'll explode with anger. You'll sit up all night and force him to study all night last minute to prepare for the exams. That attitude, why should you apply that sloppy, lazy, halfway attitude in this business when we don't apply it in anything else? It's the same thing. Come to every meeting. The weekly meeting, the monthly meetings. The meetings are for our benefit to learn the business. Number 3, listen to 1 CD per day. These CDs, many people think that this is motivation. Okay, part of it is motivation. There is learning on many of these CDs. This new CD set that you can buy, that was launched this weekend, has got thousands of hours of accumulated experience and wisdom concentrated to 4 hours of CDs. You know that there are people on these CDs who have spent 30 to 40 years of their life learning this business, mastering it, running global empires, and they share this information freely, condensed to the points that they think are most important. How much time and money can 1 CD like this save you? A lot. I became obsessed with listening to CDs. There's 1 CD I've heard more than 200 times, the same CD. Oh, why would you listen to an Amway CD that many times? Because I saved years of work understanding the principles of that 1 CD. Because the person who spoke knows a lot more than I do. Have a humble attitude, learn the CD. Some people say, I don't need motivation. You don't need motivation? Are you sure? How come that you will quit 3 days from now if you don't need motivation? Many people quit this business. Many people come to seminar, they get started in the business, and 3 weeks later, they get distracted by small events in their life. And this business takes a backseat, and they carry on with their routine life, and nothing will change. They don't know that they are on the downward red curve. They don't know that every single day they are making small decisions that takes them deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and down. And one day, at age 65, 70, they wake up disillusioned and say, why did this happen to me? How did it happen? You know what? It didn't happen to them. They made a deliberate decision to be on that wrong curve in their life. You did not become overweight in 1 day or 1 month or even 1 year. It was years of wrong decisions that took you to that point. You are in your life today exactly where you decided to be. Where you are today is the result of decisions you have made. No, that's not fair, that's how it is. You are today exactly where you had decided to be, based on the choices you made, based on the work you put in, same in this business. I'm today where I decided to be in this business. We could have been on a higher level in this business, we could have had more, but we made the deliberate decision that we were not ready to put in extreme work in this business for some time because we had other priorities. That was a deliberate decision. That's not laziness, that's just like, that's our life, that's how we want to run it. It's a deliberate decision. So we made the decision not maybe to move ahead further as fast as we could have done. That was the decision. But many people make small decisions that are very, very crucial, but they don't realize the importance of them on a single daily basis. Listen to see this. There is a CD program called the CP program. That's how we know, Pramilla and I, who is serious in our group. We get a list of these people who subscribe to that monthly CD program, who are ready to invest 900 rupees a month in the future to understand how this business works. And we know these are the people who actually have a dream and they are ready to back up that dream with some action. Listen to the CDs. Number 4. Read 10 pages from a book per day. Read 10 pages per day. How many people could read 10 pages of a book? Everyone could. But can you do it for a week consistently? Can you do it for a month consistently? Can you every day for a year read 10 pages from a book? The person who reads 10 pages per day and the person who doesn't, in the beginning, they are on the same position on the curve. The person who reads 10 pages every single day, after 1 year, he has read 3,650 pages. That's 15 books, maybe 20 books. He will be on a different position on the curve. He will be on the blue curve. He will start to move up in his life because his thinking is changing. There is no accident that Rajan thinks the way he does, that he responds to a crisis situation the way he does. It's a result of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of books that we have read over these years. And when we have situations happening in our life, because we also have situations, all of us go through ups and downs. Doesn't matter if you're a diamond or if you're new in this business. Life happens. There are things that happens in life. There are situations we all have to deal with. But the books helps you to think right about what happens in your life. And that attitude you can apply in any other field. 10 pages per day. Easy to do, easy not to do. Most people won't do it because it's very easy not to do it. But some people will, and it will make a big difference. What would happen if you did that for 5 years? Well, you have read 200 books. You have read hundreds of books over that period of time, if you do it. Finally, the last point is to put in the activity in the business. Now, do something. All the steps I spoke about so far is something you can sit and do completely within your comfort zone. It doesn't take you one step out of your comfort zone. It's just an attitude. Use the products, that's an attitude. Listen to CDs, that's an attitude. Read, that's an attitude. Come to all the meetings, it's beneficial in many ways, and it's just an attitude, it's just a decision to do that. But the final step is to do something in this business. Now, if you're brand new, what do you need to do? Something, do something. Take a first step, whatever it may be. Now, for example, make a list of people. A proper list, not a mental list. What if you would take 1 hour out of your life today and write down 80 names of people who could potentially become consumers or customers or business owners in this business? 1 hour it will take you. Go through your whole telephone book and make that list once for all. Last week I had 2 experiences. I was showing a plan. In fact, I showed our weight loss program to a person who stays in our housing society. And he immediately bought 20,000 rupees worth of, weight loss products, the body key, and some other things. He had signed up immediately in the business. I then had to rush because I had to go to follow-up 20 minutes away for a brand new person. I sat down with this person and made a list with him. And we got up to number 12. And that's when he said, I don't know any more people. And I was like, please, write down more. You have been living in Bombay for 12 years. He said, I only know 12 people. I said, are you sure? You see, he knows 12 people who he thinks will do this business. The problem that the 12 people he thinks will do this business are probably the ones who will not do it. He is wrong. He's putting down all the wrong people. People who he doesn't respect. These are not the people who will not do this business, by the way. Look for quality people. Look for people who are ambitious. Look for people who have money and interest in spending money on health products. So he got down to number 12. And then this guy who I had just signed up, he was going to place his order online. And he got stuck, as it sometimes happens when people order for the first time. So he sent me a message. And as I was sitting with this guy making his list, struggling to get one more name, this guy who I had just signed up an hour before sent a message, and his name came up on my phone. And this guy saw the name and said, Ashok, so-and-so. And I'd written the name of my house. He said, do you know, is that the same Ashok? And we started to speak. I said, do you know him? He said, yes, he's my best friend. We used to work together, and we used to go to work every single day for 2 years in the same car. We used to carpool together. I said, are you sure it's the same guy? He mentioned the name of the company. It was the same company. I said, congratulations. Can I ask you one question? Why did you not put him on your list? He's your best friend. Oh, he would never be interested. Well, honestly, half an hour ago, he signed up in the business and bought 20,000 rupees worth of products. He's active in this business. Big mistake of not putting people down on his list. Another senior leader in the business. So he's been in the business for a long time. 2 days back at the business preview in Bombay, this guy was fuming. He was looking angry and disappointed and furious. I said, what's wrong? He said, look at that guy over there. That's one of my closest friends from my, school group. And we are still in touch on a WhatsApp group. And I was thinking about showing them the plan. Now some other cross-line leader has shown him the plan, taken him to the preview, and he has joined that group. Big mistake. Who do you think he would have joined? A stranger or, the school friend who is in touch with him on WhatsApp group? I did not think he would be interested. Big mistake. Now, let me ask you this question. What's the worst thing that can happen if you put down someone's name on the list and you show him these products or the business and they say no? What's the worst thing that can happen? They say no. That's the worst thing that can happen. By the way, Pramilla and I, we are proud to be in this business. We look at it as a profession. I'm proud to be associated with people who are winners in this business. We are proud to do this business. We are as proud doing this business as anything else because we are setting up an empire, helping other people to change their family life, their financial life, their health. There are hundreds of aspects why we are excited about doing this business. So why wouldn't you feel the same way? Well, if you don't listen to CDs, if you don't read books, if you don't come to meetings, and brilliantly, if you don't use the products, how could you be proud of something that you don't know anything about? Treat this business seriously as you would a business, and then the conviction will come. Start activities. Set up a meeting with your upline who brought you here today, and figure out a way that you can show in the month of March 20 people the plan. And then you can start evaluating how this business works. Not after showing 5, 20. Will you get results if you professionally approach people, 20 people from your list in this month? Yes, you will get results. What will happen when you get results? You will get belief. What will happen when you get belief? You will do more. What will happen when you do more? You will start making money from this business. What will happen when you start making money from this business? You will get more belief. What will happen when you get more belief? You will do even more. What will happen when you do even more? You make more money, and that's how you start your journey in this business. But if you don't take the first steps in doing what is maybe a little bit uncomfortable now to start with, then none of these things can possibly happen. You have to begin to win. You have to do something to start this business. I'm just going to finish with a couple of photos. About a year back, this is Hannah and the bird story. I don't have time for that because I got only 2 minutes left. This is Mitch, our upline. Now, this is a meeting we had exactly a year back in our home for new people. And there was one guy, sometimes you find these people who are the right people. People like you in this room here today. People who are positive, people who want something in life. Some people, when you meet them and you speak to them, they drain energy from you. Do you know that type of person? Huh? Yeah, and that type of person has a very, very low possibility of succeeding in this business, by the way. Honestly. Yesterday we had a meeting in Bombay, and there was a person I asked her, how much money do you want to make from this business? She said minimum 2 lakhs per month. Now, she makes like 25,000 rupees a month in her job. But from Amway, she wants to make minimum 2 lakhs per month. And I said, are you prepared to do whatever it takes for that? Yes. And she sent a message before the meeting we had yesterday. I cannot get a rickshaw, so I cannot come to the meeting. Now, let me tell you one thing. There will be bigger challenges along the way to Go Diamond than not getting a rickshaw. If you don't get a rickshaw, walk, run, do something, find a solution. I look for people who want solutions. People are ready to do something. People who will find a way when there is no way. And finding a rickshaw does not qualify on my top 10 reasons of not succeeding at something. Pathetic. There will be bigger challenges in life that will challenge you in this business and in other areas of life than not finding a rickshaw. But that's how many people are. These are the type of people that you don't look for to do this business. They can be great customers. They can use the products, but they are not necessarily people who will build this business. So we had this meeting for new people, and this guy was the opposite. He was like, there is no rickshaw. He has got no shoes. He will walk barefoot. He was that kind of person. He was successful in his job, about 31, 32 years of age, and we related very well. So he became like a friend. Now, there was only one problem, as sometimes is the case, in some unique cases, that one spouse is very excited about this business because they have got exposure and they have understand how it works, and the other one puts on the brakes and it's kind of negative. So his young wife, very nice woman, they had a small child, she was very negative about this business because she felt, you are so and so in your job, your career is going so well, why would you do, quote, something like that? Something like what? Can you explain to me? We are not like, we are changing people's life here. What a wrong understanding. But she didn't come to meetings. She didn't get any exposure. So he was a strong man. He said, I will build this business with or without her approval right now because I know that it is what my family needs. It's almost as if there was a voice inside his head, inside his heart, that was telling him, do this business. And the unique opportunity, he had a leader, someone like me or someone like the people sitting in this room who are committed to this business, who were ready to invest time with him and help him free of cost. Where else does that happen? Don't take it for granted just because it's free. Because at some point, the person helping me in this business can decide whether he wants to invest time with me or not. It's his choice. No one can force him. He has to choose it. So this guy, it was almost as a voice inside of him was telling him, build this business for some reason. You may need it later. So we started to do some stuff. Unfortunately, we didn't get that much result in the first week. And then his wife, got occupied and he had some financial year ending. This was in March last year. That's when it was. Financial year ending. So he said, I will start after April. I said, I just need one person from your list that I can work with. And this will start to work with or without you. Because I will find that person who is more freed up with time and maybe a slightly more supportive wife than you have right now. And I will start to work with that group. He said, I understand, but give it to April, I'll start. On the 10th of March last year, he called me. And he said, can we speak for 2 minutes? I said, yes. This is him, by the way. So we come to the meeting. This is him. Young guy, successful, everything on track. You look at this guy, he had everything. This is like the Indian middle class dream in a package. Good job, nice car, beautiful wife. This is his wife and his child. His 1.5-year-old child. The wife is holding the child. Beautiful family. Just bought a little flat, the dream little house with, small but nice. It's like their home. Early 30s. Everything is going perfect. Nothing could possibly go wrong in this guy's life. He will keep going up in his career. He was a likable person, honest, everything right. So he calls me on the 10th of March and he said, I need to speak to you for 2 minutes. I said, sure. Can I call you back later? Because I was sitting at home and in my office and Hannah and Lisa was all over the place in my office. He said, no, I've got cancer. I said, wow, I'll call you back. So I just called him back. I said, you have what? Because you don't expect a 32-year-old person with no habits. He's not smoking, he's not drinking. He was health conscious, kind of, but just typical corporate career, working all the time. You don't expect that. I was shocked. He said, yeah, I just got the diagnosis that he was sick. He had back pains and lots of problems, health problems. He kept going to the office for 3 weeks without getting a checkup. because there was so much pressure in the office. He just had to. He was in the financial industry. So he, told me this, and I was obviously shocked. I went to his home. He was still home at that point, and they had still not diagnosed fully what stage it was at, etc. Within 2 days after I met him in his home, I called up his wife, and she said it's got much worse. He's hospitalized now. He's under chemotherapy. So I went to the hospital to meet him. Not for him to build his business, because I know he's not going to build his business for a long time now with what has happened. I came there because he was a friend. I met him through this business. I liked the guy. I was genuinely concerned. I just went as a friend to connect with him and meet him. And by the way, I was the third person he told about his cancer. His wife, his mother and father, and Staffan, who he has known for 3 weeks. You know what happens in this business? We build relationships with people in this business. Why would he tell me? Because there was trust built up already. He knew that I cared for him to succeed in this business, not only for my reasons, because he has to succeed before I get any benefit. He understood that. We had developed a relationship. I went to the hospital, and he had not understood how serious it was yet, because the doctors had not told him. But it was very bad. It was a 3rd stage lung cancer. It had spread all over to other organs. Very bad. The doctors had pretty much told the wife that there's not much we can do. And they had not told him. But he said, I know this is very bad. Doctors are telling me that there is like a 70% chance that I'll be okay. I know that's not true. And then he said, 2 months back, I should have listened to you. One of my biggest regrets right now is if something goes wrong with me. I have a house loan. I have no savings. I'm paying an EMI. My wife is not neither qualified nor in a position to go to work with a 1.5-year-old. I don't come from a wealthy family. I have nothing. Everything in my life was based on what will happen 20 years from now, based on what we do. I have nothing. I wish I would have listened to you, because the only thing that possibly could have given me something that could have carried out without me was the Amway business. And I have nothing now. Pray for me. 2 days later, he was no more. That's life. That's unpredictable. There's nothing we can do. You don't know what will happen in life. There are things we can control. Our attitude, our goals. We can control our relationships with other people. I can control how I respond to Pramilla and what I tell her. It's my tongue. I choose what I say. Many things we can control. There are other things, such as what happened in Arjan's life and his family, that really we honestly can control. It's out of our control. We don't know when we will need the friends, the money, the time, the thinking, the attitude that this business brings. But one thing I know with certainty, when these things hit in life, because all of us is going to have up and down in this business, then it is too late to build this business, because you have to focus on dealing with the problem. Build this business before you need it. Put the seeds in the ground at the right season of your life when you are still able to. Maybe right now everything is going well in your life and you don't see the need of this business. I congratulate you. That's a fantastic time to build this business when everything is right. Maybe things are completely down and you have some challenges you're dealing with your life. That's also a good time to start this business. Build the business before you need it. You will learn and see what Rajan spoke about in his talk, the environment and the stability that this business brings in your life. But you will only be able to experience it after you have made decisions to get on that curve. On an every single day basis, you do some things that the rest of the people are not prepared to do, because it is uncomfortable to start, and it's a new thing, and it's something that the majority doesn't do. But when you make a decision to do what the majority doesn't do, you will have what the majority does not have. And this business can bring you that. Thank you.